The unfortunate and well-documented cancellation of Rally Isle of Man means that the Trackrod Rally Yorkshire becomes the final round of the 2018 British Historic Rally Championship season. And the change in the scoring rounds means that Paul Barrett comes into the Trackrod as the newly crowned champion. He starts just behind Matthew Robinson, while Nick Elliott swaps the escort for a Fiat 131 this weekend. Plenty to watch out there on those iconic Yorkshire stages. On to the very first stage of the event then, a blast through Dalby in the dark. What better rally atmosphere could you ask for? And it would be the lead for Matthew Robinson and Sam Collis, 13 seconds ahead after the opening stage. That highly anticipated battle with our new champion Paul Barrett wouldn't materialise. He crashes out before reaching our cameras. So second place at this stage would belong to Steve Bennett and Ocean Owen. A good start for the pair. Experience counts in these stages, and despite a lack of it, it would be a good start for Ian Rowlands and Emir Hall. Third place for now, 4 seconds back from Bennett. And 2 seconds back from the Avenger pair in fourth were Simon Webster and Jez Rogers. A good, close battle forming after this exciting opening stage. The debut in that beautiful Fiat was going well for Nick Elliott and Dave Price. They lead the F2 class, lying in 5th overall, only 4 seconds back from Webster. In some of the other class leading positions, it would be the G2 class lead for James Slaughter and James Whittaker, 7th in the category overall. Stuart Eggleston and Brian Hodgson, meanwhile, lead the D3 class at this stage. In fact, they'd have a good advantage in the class by the end of the stage as well, due in part to the loss of Ben Friend and Cliffy Simmons, who unfortunately retire in the very first stage of the rally. Lee Ashbury and Nathan Marriott will be the only crew in D4 this weekend, so that position, of course, would belong to them. Frustratingly though, problems would mean that they were a good few minutes behind the other crews, showing that even a finish on rallies like these is hard in itself. And it would be a similar story for Malcolm and Ronald Mounsey, the only ones in their class. Frustratingly as well for them, they wouldn't finish the stage, having to super rally on day 2. So with that ever popular opening night stage completed, the results at the top of category 3 look like this. On to day 2 of the Trackrod then, and into the daylight. And there'd be no change at the top. A hard-charging Matthew Robinson and Sam Collis continue to lead the way on their home stages with a 22-second advantage now. This man, Steve Bennett, with Ocean Owen alongside, still in second. Unable to gain any ground on the leaders, but they were holding off any charge from behind. And charge is probably the right word, because the closest challenge was still come from Ian Rowlands and Emir Hall. And have we ever known them to do anything else but charge? The pair remain in 3rd overall. The times between them and Bennett exactly the same as we left them last night. There'd be a few seconds more separating Rowlands from Simon Webster and Jez Rogers now, but only 4.8 seconds to be exact. Things then still very close going into the afternoon stages. Stuart Eggleston and Brian Hodgson moved the right way on the leaderboard, still leading the way in D3, but now from 5th place in the category. With just themselves to concentrate on in the G2 class, there'd be no change, as you'd expect, for James Slaughter and James Whittaker. They do, though, move up to 6th place overall. Nick Elliott and Dave Price would find themselves behind Slaughter on the leaderboard now, but it was close. Just 0.8 of a second the difference between the pair. For James Potter and Bob Duck, it would be 5th in Class D. The escort pair in 8th place in the category as well after that run through Gale Rig. And just behind them overall and in the class were Phil and Mick Squires, 17 seconds back at this stage, 3 more stages to go. Rounding out the top 10 in the category then were Jerry Bailey and Graham Lacey, 7th in the popular D5 class as well. Turning out to be a fantastic fight to watch for the spectators here at the Trackrod. In the top of some of the classes outside of the top 10, the action certainly wouldn't stop. It will be 2nd in D3 for Paul Holmes and Elizabeth Beasley, a little way off the class lead, but still going well. For Freddie Camp and Gareth Drayton, it will be 2nd in the F2 class. that Peugeot 205. Looking good, the pair lying in 12th place as well. After their problems yesterday, there'd be no change to that position for Lee Ashbury and Nathan Marriott. Still going though, and of course, in that class of their own, in more ways than one. After that dramatic roll on day one, it will be damage limitation, of course, for our new champion Paul Barrett. Gordon Noble alongside for this Yorkshire Rally. A new window sourced by Matthew Robinson, and some good times, showing that Club and Rallying still has its spirit right here in the historic championship. Way down the results overall though. So with just a few stages left to go, the results at the top look like this. On to the final stages then, and it would be a finish under Super Rally for Paul Barrett and Gordon Noble, ending the rally with 5th in the class, 9th in the category. Not quite how they wanted to end their season, but they do at least end it on the very top step of the podium as far as the championship is concerned. The long drive up from Devon to the rally for Freddie Camp and Gareth Drayton was made completely worthwhile with the F2 class victory after the loss of James Slaughter from the leaderboard this afternoon. And there was no doubting the D4 class win at any point for Lee Ashbury and Nathan Marriott. They take that position and they also charge themselves to 7th in the category. Paul Holmes and Elizabeth Beasley end the rally with 2nd in D3. It wasn't expected that their position would change without problems up ahead, but they end the rally with a good 6th place in the category as well. For Jerry Bailey and Graham Lacey, it will be 4th in D5. A good end to the event for the pair with 5th in Category 3. Phil and Mick Squires, meanwhile, enjoying a good run on the final stages of the day to end the Trackrod with a podium in the D5 class, just missing out on the podium in the category with 4th place. On to those category podium positions then, and it will be 3rd to end the rally for James Potter and Bob Duck, taking 2nd in the D5 class as well with that result. It was a strong result as well right from the start for Stuart Eggleston and Brian Hodgson, 2nd in Cat 3. And most importantly, that result putting Brian in the championship lead, joining Paul Barrett at the top for the season after he used multiple co-drivers this season. But taking victory this weekend and an all-important home win were Matthew Robinson and Sam Collis. A great way to end the season, victory in front of their home crowd. So confirmation then of the final leaderboard at the end of the event here in Category 3.